Monday, October 2nd. I'm in classes with Teresa, Tino, Maya, Nita, and Henry D. all day. Now Joey has joined that group. The first and last periods of the day, science and language arts do cross curricular projects together. That means that we do a science type project in science class and we write about it in language arts class. I came in at the tail end of the last project, so all I could do was sit and listen to kids read their reports. They were really good. Now we're starting a new cross curricular project. Mrs. Potter passed out a project sheet that describes what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do it, and how we're supposed to present it to the class. At the top of the project sheet, it says Science, Language Arts, Cross Curricular Project. Broad topic, Florida agriculture. Narrow topic, an agriculture product that is native to this area of Florida. Your topic, question marks. Mrs. Potter gave us 24 hours to form our own groups of 4 to 6 kids. After that, she would form new groups out of the leftovers, as she called them. I was looking over the project sheet with Joey when I saw Tino walking back towards us. He stopped at Henry D's desk and said, "Yo, Henry D, you want to be in a group with Teresa and me? We got a hot idea." Henry D, whose real name is Henry Dilks, has a quiet is a quiet country boy, always polite. He says, "Thank you, I'd be pleased to." Tino bumped his fist down on top of Henry's and started back toward his desk. I called out to him, "Hey, Tino, what about me and Joey? Can we be in your group?" Tino stopped and looked at me surprised. He thought a minute and said, "Yeah, why not? But it's our group. You got that?" "Yeah, yeah, sure." He returned to his seat and Joey said to me, "Why did you do that for?" "Do what? We got to get in that group, right? I don't want to be a leftover." "So why don't we form our own group?" "With who? We need 4 to 6 people." "With anybody but him." He shot an angry look at Tino. "Come on, man. Henry's nice. Super nice. So is Teresa, and Tino's okay when he's by himself." Joey shook his head. He didn't believe me. "That guy's bad news. I don't need this. I don't need this at all." "Hey, this isn't soccer practice. It's science class. You're an ace in science, right?" Joey glared at me. "What are you saying? That I stink in soccer?" "No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is different. This is something that you're really good at." Joey finally agreed doubtfully. All right, all right. Good. This will give you another kind of chance with people, a chance to get in with some of the people from the team." There was a strange pause. Joey finally said, "I'm not on the team anymore." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Since when?" "I turned in my uniform this morning." I looked at him, but he wouldn't look back. I finally said, "That's it? You're just not on the team anymore? And that's it?" Joey tightened up. "Yeah, that's it. So what? What is it to you?" "It's nothing to me. I just don't understand. I thought you wanted to play soccer." "Well, I don't. Not here anyway." He finally looked at me. "Not anymore. I'm going to play football when I get to high school. You understand that?" I understood. I said, "Okay," and I was willing to leave it right there. But Joey wasn't. He was practically snarling now. "I can't believe I let you talk me into this." And he gestured about the room. "I let you talk me into coming to this dump." I suddenly became aware of the other kids around us as he went on. "This place is like darkest Africa, like the Amazon jungle, like we're learning to live among the natives here." I took in the ugliness of Joey's words, and I saw for the first time how different he was from me. Different parents, different friends, different brother. The speaker came on, and the gong sounded. I had to say something, so I muttered, "I'm sorry you feel that like that," and headed out without him into the crowded hallway. Tuesday, October 3rd. There's something I forgot to record here about Joey's first day at Tangerine Middle School. Or maybe I didn't forget. Maybe I just wanted to block it out. But after what he said yesterday, I can't. The scene came back to me today on the way home. It was last Monday. I was sitting in homeroom. Suddenly Joey walked in and handed Mrs. Pollard a pass. He was all by himself. No Teresa to show him around like I had hoped. Miss Pollard told him to take a seat, so he came back and sat next to me. He was all smiles and he said something like, "Hey, so far, so good." I said, "Where's Teresa?" "Who?" Teresa Cruz. I told you to ask for her as a guide." "Oh, yeah, she's back in the office. I saw her there." "What? Is she guiding somebody else today?" "No, I just said I didn't need it." "What do I need a guide dog for?" "A guide dog? You're calling Teresa a guide dog?" Joey laughed. "Come on, man, lighten up. What? Do you think she's good looking?" I thought about that. "Yeah, I guess I do." Joey still had that cocky smile plastered on his face. Then you've been here too long. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I just shook my head. I finally said, I gotta tell you, you're coming in here with the wrong attitude. Hey, what's the big deal? I got here okay without a guide, right? You'd have to be blind to get lost in this place. Oh, is that right? So now you're calling me blind? No, I'm not calling you blind. You're calling Teresa a dog? No, I'm just pointing out that she's not my type. The bell rang for first period. All I had time to say was, don't do this. Don't come in here with attitude. Like I said, that scene came back to me today. We had our first meeting for the science project. Each group of kids pulled their desks together. The leftover kids then got put into their own groups. Joey and I pulled our desks into a circle with Henry D., Teresa, and Tino. I was surprised when Teresa, not Tino, took charge of the meeting, and it was obvious that she had done this sort of thing before. Teresa began by reading the assignment aloud. To research and present information about an agricultural product that is native to this area of Florida. Then she passed out a glossy one-page ad with a picture of a citrus tree laden with fruit. When we heard this assignment, Tino and I knew right away what we were going to write about. I just gave you all an advertisement for an agriculture product that was developed by our brother Louis. It's a new variety of citrus that has named the Golden Dawn Tangerine. This tangerine is seedless, very juicy, and very resistant to cold weather, which makes it perfect for this area. Louis thinks it could even turn this area to its former prominence as the tangerine capital of the world. He just got it registered with the state this year as a new variety. Now he is starting to market it to citrus growers in Florida, California, and Mexico. So our report is going to be called the Golden Dawn Tangerine. Teresa passed out sheets of paper that had a report title typed across the top. She said, what we want to do today is divide up the research part of the project. Tino and I will concentrate on Lewis's invention and what he had to do to register it with the state. Somebody else can do the history of the citrus industry in this area. Henry, we thought you could do that part. When does citrus growing start here? What are the types of trees that grow best here? What kind of thing? That kind of thing. Henry D nodded and jotted something down. Then Teresa turned to me. Somebody else could do basic research on what a tangerine is and how it is grown. We thought that you and your friend could handle that. I nodded. Teresa added, any questions? Henry D said, excuse me, how long did it take for your brother to invent this tangerine? Tino answered, his whole life. I can't remember a time when Louis wasn't working on this, and I don't know if Teresa made this clear or not. But this is really a big deal. It's like inventing a new kind of medicine or something. Lewis is going to be famous for doing this. Teresa said Lewis is real interested in helping us too. He'll answer questions and he'll show us how it's all done. We figure we'll get all this research in. Then we'll have an organizational meeting, probably with Lewis. Then each group can write its section of the report and give it to me, and I'll type it all up. Joy interrupted her. Just put it all on a disk and give it to me. I'll run it off on the laser jet at home. Teresa looked away. She seemed flustered. She said, we don't have a computer. We use a typewriter. Tino snapped at him. You got a problem with that, Tuna? Joey stared him down. No, I don't have a problem with that. I guess I got a problem with you. Yeah, you're gonna have a big problem with me. Bigger than you know, chump. I felt I had to head this off, so I said, come on, you guys, forget this. Shut up, Tino snarled, his eyes still locked on Joey's. Joey, I said, it's Tino's group, right? We agreed to that when we joined. Joey stood up and moved his desk back. He looked at me with disgust. You agreed to that. You'd agree to anything, not me. I'm joining another group. He started to drag his desk away. But then he stopped and looked at Tino, adding sarcastically, not that your brother and his new type of banana aren't fascinating. Tino jumped up and lunged at him, but Joey was too fast. He leaned back, and Tino flew past him, landing on the desks of the next group. Mrs. Potter was there before he could recover. She got a grip on Tino's arm and hustled them out into the hallway. Joey turned on me. This is how you get by here, right? You kiss up to these guys? You're scared of these guys? What are you talking about? I'm not scared. You're gutless wonder, Fisher. You're afraid of girls. You're afraid of your own brother. Now you're afraid of these lowlifes. They treat you like a dog, and you take it. Take it. Take it, you like it. You think they're your friends. Everyone's eyes were on Joey. He was red-faced and angry. Let me tell you something. You're bigger than this little punk. You know that? And I'm bigger than you. If he ever messes with me again, I don't care where it is. I'm going to punch him out. Mrs. Potter stepped back into the classroom and signaled for Joey to join her in the hall. He walked out, and everybody's eyes turned to me. I had no clue what to do. I just stood there. Finally, Teresa broke the tension. So, are you joining another group or what? I answered immediately, no, I want to stay here. Teresa spoke to the class. Then let's all sit down. I spent the rest of the period staring at a blank piece of paper, trying to sort out what had happened. Joey came back at the end of the period and sat down with the leftover group behind me. Tino didn't come back at all. The word at practice was that he had been suspended for 3 days. Wednesday, October 4th. I typed these journal entries and my homework assignments on a little PC clone up in my bedroom. For anything major, like a school report, I use Dad's big IBM, which is down in an alcove off the great room. Dad has a CD-ROM encyclopedia, a fax modem, and a web navigator that gets hundreds of information services. I can find out anything about anything without ever leaving the chair. Tonight, I was down in the alcove searching for information on tangerines when Mom announced, I've got people coming over tonight, Paul. You might want to work upstairs. Who's coming? It's a meeting of the Homeowners Association. I think it's going to be a loud one. Why is that? Mr. Costello has been getting a lot of phone calls about a lot of different things. There's the termite problem, and there's there have been break-ins over in his side of the development. Robberies? Yes, people are talking about organizing a neighborhood watch patrol or even hiring a real guard to sit in the guardhouse. She stopped and looked at me. You haven't heard anything about break-ins, have you? Are kids involved? I haven't heard a thing. Joey hasn't said anything to you? No. The doorbell rang. I went back to my search as the homeowners started to arrive. I could hear them file in behind me. The yellow Tudor, the York with a three-car garage, and a loud group from Joey's street, the street where all the houses were getting blue tents put over them. I stopped working when Mr. Costello came in and rolled my chair to the entrance of the alcove so he could see me. Hi, Paul. How's it going? Fine, Mr. Costello. Mr. Costello's face had looked lined and tired ever since Mike got killed. He carried a thick black appointment book in one hand. He walked to the kitchen end of the great room and said quietly, All right, let's get started. The meeting began like the town meetings we used to have in social studies class. Treasurer's report, old business, new business. I second the motion. I had turned my attention back to the computer screen when I heard a man call out, What's with Donnelly's house? It looks like something that landed from outer space. I rolled my chair back and watched Mr. Costello. He checked his notes and said, All right. Mr. Donnelly applied for permission to install a lightning rod on the roof of his house. The Agricultural Committee, because of his unique problem, did approve that addition. But then, for some reason, Mr. Donnelly went and installed a series of 10 lightning rods across the top of his roof. It does look odd. It looks like hell. Mom spoke up. The Agricultural Committee has sent Mr. Donnelly a strongly worded letter about it. I think he clearly took advantage of us. What are you going to do about it? As I just said, we sent him a letter. I had hoped he would show up tonight so we could work this out. If he doesn't respond, we will take further action. Another homeowner stood up. I've been keeping track of our fish population, what there is of it, and I'd like to announce that it is now down to 0. As far as I can tell, we have 0 fish left in that pond. Mr. Costello nodded grimly and flipped to another page. You're probably right, Ralph. The koi appear to be all gone. We're not sure why, but we think someone may have stolen them. I thought, think again, Mr. Costello. Your koi are a gourmet meal for the ospreys out on Route 89. Another voice called out, What about the muck fire? Mr. Costello knew right where to flip for this one. All right, we've certainly heard your complaints about the muck fire, and we certainly share your distaste for it. Since our last meeting, Mr. Potter and I contacted the Tangerine Fire Department on 3 different occasions. Mr. Costello began to read directly from his notes. But the captain there basically told us that he cannot do anything about it. We said, Why don't you pour water on it until it goes out? And he said, Why don't you? So we did. Mr. Costello slammed his book closed with one hand. We hired a contractor to sink 4 wells in the muck fire field. We rented pumps and spraying equipment and started saturating the area last month. To make a long story short, the muck fire is still burning, and now we have swarms of mosquitoes breeding in the swamp that we created out there. I heard Mom speak up again. These mosquitoes carry encephalitis. 2 children died in Tangerine last year after they were bitten by mosquitoes. Mr. Costello nodded gravely. Right. We've already contacted the county about it. They have a spray truck that is for hire. Starting tomorrow night, they will drive through our development spraying a cloud of insecticide every other evening until the mosquito problem is under control. Do not, I repeat, do not allow your kids to ride their bikes behind the spray truck. They'll be inhaling a powerful pesticide. Also, you should keep your pets inside and you should move any delicate plants from your porches, patios, whatever into the house. Everyone got quiet at the thought of the spray truck spewing insecticide every other night. Finally, the man who had asked about Mr. Donnelly's house said, "Okay, what about all the robberies?" Mr. Costello opened his book once again and addressed the man. "The sheriff's department has assigned someone to our case, Sergeant Edwards." He looked at the rest of the homeowners. "For those of you who don't know, 5 of the houses that were tented for bugs have been robbed by jewelry, watches, and other valuables." The man interrupted. "My lawyer tells me that the exterminator is required by law to either post a guard or to arrange for guards to patrol around the houses that are tented. That may be true, Dan, but our local guy says he was not aware of that law. He should have been. It's his business." "Maybe so, but I've talked to the guy, and his attitude is that you'd have to be crazy to go into a house that's been pumped full of deadly poison. Therefore, there's no real threat of anyone doing it. But somebody is doing it. Somebody busted in my patio doors with a baseball bat, too. And whether his attitude likes it or not, he's liable for that and for my missing property." Mr. Costello turned his palms upward. He answered patiently, "If you think you have a case against him, then by all means pursue it, but it is really worth your time and money to hire a lawyer and go to court just to take some guy's dilapidated pickup truck away, because that's what it'll come down to. That's just the way it is around here." The homeowners just sat there glumly until Mr. Costello said, "Okay, somebody move to adjourn." I turned back to the computer as the meeting broke up. I took out the disk, and got into Dad's personal library, looking for another information service. I saw a file listing that had definitely not been there before. I would have never missed seeing this. Eric, scholarship offers. I looked around for Dad. He and Mom were saying goodbye to people in the foyer, so I clicked on Eric scholarship offers. The file was 2 pages long. It was carefully designed, like someone had spent a lot of time thinking about it. Each page was filled with rectangular boxes stacked on top of each other. But get this, the boxes were light green football fields with white grid lines at 10-yard intervals. Over the green and white fields, printed in red, were vital statistics. Each box contained the name of a university, its address and phone number, and the name of its head football coach. The top 3 boxes on page 1 were set up for the University of Florida, Florida State University, and the University of Miami. Ohio State had a box on page 1. So did Notre Dame, Penn State, and the University of Nebraska. It didn't look like any of these schools had expressed any interest in Eric. Not yet. I scrolled to page 2 and found some that had Rice University, Baylor University, and the University of Houston had sent letters to Eric. From the dates of the letters, they must all have contacted him at the same time, right after his junior year season in Houston. Dad apparently had not written back to any of them. I heard the front door close, so I quickly clicked out of the file. But I'll be back.